You know that moment when your entire world collapses in the span of about 30 seconds? When everything you've worked for, everything you've sacrificed for, everything you've believed in just evaporates into thin air? When the ground beneath your feet disappears, and you're left falling into a void with no idea how to catch yourself? When every memory you've ever made becomes tainted by the realization that it was all built on a foundation of lies? That was me at 9:47 p.m. on a Saturday night, standing in my own living room, staring at my sister's phone. She'd left it on the coffee table by accident. It was a simple mistake, the kind anyone could make. But that simple mistake would unravel everything I thought I knew about my family, my future, and the woman I had trusted most in the world. The phone was in a sparkly pink case, so familiar, so innocent. I'd bought her that case for her birthday last year. I'd wrapped it myself, tied the ribbon, watched her smile as she opened it. Now it felt like a bomb in my hands. My name is Gabrielle. I am 39 years old. I have been engaged to my fiancé Marcus for 3 years. We were supposed to get married in 2 months. I had the dress, the venue, the flowers, the cake, the invitations, the honeymoon, everything. I had spent 2 years planning the perfect wedding. I had saved every penny for years to afford it. I had dreamed of this day since I was a little girl. My bridal binder was thick with magazine clippings and fabric swatches. Every detail was chosen with love. Every choice was made with the certainty that Marcus and I were building a forever together. I am a successful event planner. I have built my career from the ground up, one event at a time. I have always believed in honesty, in integrity, in doing what is right. I believed my relationship with my sister was one of those things. Right? True. Built to last. My sister is Miranda. She is 36 years old. She has always been jealous of me. I was the pretty one, the successful one, the one who had everything. She was the one who struggled, who made bad choices, who never quite found her footing. She had always wanted what I had, and now she had taken it. I remembered when we were kids, how she'd take my favorite dolls and hide them, then pretend to help me find them. How she'd copy my outfits, my hairstyles, my friends. She wanted my life so badly she could taste it. I just never thought she'd try to swallow it whole. Marcus is a successful architect, the kind of man who commands attention when he walks into a room. He is tall, handsome, and has a smile that could charm anyone. He is also ambitious, driven, and has a way of making you feel like you're the most important person in the world when he is talking to you. He is the kind of man other women wish their husbands were like. I met him when I was 26, fresh out of college and working my first real job at a small event planning firm. He was 32, already on his way to the top. He swept me off my feet from the very first moment. He was everything I had ever wanted in a man. He was charming, confident, intelligent, and he made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. It was a fairy tale proposal, the kind you see in movies. He took me to a beautiful restaurant overlooking the city, got down on one knee, and told me he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. I said yes, of course. I was madly in love with him. I could not imagine my life without him. He was my everything. I thought I had it all. I thought I was living the dream. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. That phone in my hand had a text message from my sister to my fiancé. The message was simple, but it was devastating. The words glowed on the screen like a curse. Blue and bright and world-ending. I can't wait to see you tonight. I miss you. I love you. Please delete this message before she sees it. Love you more than anything, Em. I stood there, frozen, staring at the message on the phone. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My mind was racing, trying to process what I was reading. My sister, my fiancé, the 2 people I trusted most in the world. They had been having an affair, behind my back, while I was planning our wedding, while I was saving for our future, while I was building our life together. The living room around me, the beige sofa, the framed engagement photo on the mantel. The vase of fresh flowers I'd arranged that morning suddenly looked like a museum exhibit of a life that no longer existed. I scrolled up. There were more messages. Hundreds of them. Going back months, years. They were filled with declarations of love. With promises, with plans. They had been together for years. They had been lying to me for years. They had been betraying me for years. Remember that weekend in Miami when she thought you were at a conference? I hate pretending in front of her. One day we won't have to. You're the one I really love. She's just the safe choice. Each message was a knife, and I read them all, standing there in the dim light of the living room, bleeding out silently. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare at those words, at the proof of a betrayal that was so deep, so complete, so devastating that I couldn't even begin to process it. I sat down on the couch, the phone still clutched in my hand. I felt like I was going to be sick. My whole world was crumbling around me. Everything I thought I knew about my sister, about my fiancé, about my life was a lie. I started to think back, to remember, to piece together the puzzle, the way my sister always seemed to be around, the way she always found excuses to be near Marcus, the way she looked at him when she thought I wasn't watching, the way she touched him, her hand lingering on his arm, just a moment too long, the way she laughed at his jokes, the way she made him smile. I'd thought it was just sisterly affection for her future brother-in-law. I'd been so blind. She wasn't just planning my wedding shower. She was planning to take my place at the altar. I had been blind. I had been naive. I had been trusting. I had been stupid. I started going through the rest of the phone. There were emails, photos, videos, evidence of a relationship that had been going on for years. Evidence of a betrayal that was so complete, so devastating, that I couldn't even begin to process it. I saw a video of them together, laughing on a balcony at sunset, her head on his shoulder. I saw photos of them at restaurants I'd recommended, on hikes I'd planned but never been invited to. Their secret life was rich and full while mine was a hollow shell. But that wasn't all. I also found evidence that Miranda had been stealing from me. She had been siphoning money from my wedding fund. She had been taking out loans in my name. She had been forging my signature. She had been building a secret life with my fiancé, funded by my money. There were bank notifications, credit card statements for accounts I never opened, all addressed to me but with her fingerprints all over them. I felt like I had been punched in the gut again. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare at those words, at the proof of a betrayal that was so deep, so complete, so devastating that I couldn't even begin to process it. I found out that Miranda had been planning to take everything from me. She had been planning to marry Marcus herself. She had been planning to take my money, my future, my life. She had been planning to destroy me. There were messages between them where she talked about our wedding and our future children. She didn't just want my fiancé. She wanted my whole identity, my whole existence. She was trying to erase me and step into my life like a second skin. I also found out that Marcus had been planning to leave me. He had been planning to break off the engagement, to marry Miranda, to start a new life with her. He had been waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity. They were going to wait until after the wedding. Then he'd demand a divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. They had a plan, a timeline. They had been counting down the days until they could be free of me. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. I didn't confront them right away. I needed time to process. I needed to figure out what to do. I needed to understand the full scope of what had happened. I was an event planner. I knew how to investigate. I knew how to find the truth. And I was going to find every single detail of their betrayal. That night, I made copies of everything. I stayed up until dawn, scrolling, screenshotting, emailing evidence to myself. I cried until I had no tears left, and then a cold, steely calm settled over me. They had made a mistake. They had underestimated me. They thought I was a pushover. The sweet, trusting sister, the devoted fiancé. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I started doing some digging. I hired a private investigator. I gave him the names of my sister and my fiancé. I told him to dig deep. I told him to find everything. I told him I wanted to know every detail of their deception. I met him at a diner across town. a nondescript man named Frank, who specialized in infidelity and fraud. He listened to my story without flinching, and when I handed him the initial evidence, he nodded slowly. "I've seen a lot of ugly things," he said, "but a sister doing this, that's a special kind of evil." What he found made my blood run cold. The affair had been going on for 4 years. 4 years of lies, of betrayal, of deception. 4 years of them hiding their relationship from me. 4 years of them pretending to be loyal while they were secretly plotting against me. It had started when I was sick with pneumonia. Hospitalized for a week. Marcus had come to visit me every day, holding my hand, telling me he loved me. And every night, he'd gone to Miranda's apartment. That was the thing that shattered me most, not just the betrayal, but the cruelty of it, the performance. But that wasn't all. I also found out that Miranda had been using my identity to commit fraud. She had been using my personal information to open credit cards, to take out loans, to buy properties. She had been building a secret life for herself, funded by my money. She had been stealing from me while pretending to be my sister. Frank showed me the records, a line of credit in my name she'd used to buy a car, a condo she'd put a down payment on, all with my name on the dotted line. I also found out that Marcus had been helping her. He had been giving her access to my accounts, my information, my life. He had been complicit in her scheme. He had been helping her destroy me. They were a team, a partnership of lies. And I had been their unwitting sponsor. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. But I was also determined. I gathered all the evidence I had. The phone messages, the emails, the photos, the videos, the financial records, the property records, the proof of their affair, the proof of their betrayal, the proof of their theft, the proof of their plans. I put it all into a binder, tabbed and highlighted. It was the most important event planning I had ever done. I had everything I needed to destroy them. But I didn't want to just destroy them. I wanted to make sure they could never hurt anyone ever again. I wanted to make sure they would never have the chance to do to anyone else what they had done to me. So I started planning my revenge. I contacted my lawyer. I told him everything. I showed him the evidence. I told him what I wanted. He was a bulldog named Richard. And when he saw the binder, his eyes lit up with professional appreciation. "This is airtight," he said. "Ms. Davis," he said, "you have a very strong case. Your sister has committed fraud, identity theft, and forgery. She has been stealing from you. She has been lying to you. She has been destroying your life. Your fiancé has been complicit in her crimes. I can help you. I can make sure they both pay for what they've done. What about my wedding? What about my money? What about everything she's taken? Your money will be recovered. Your sister will be held accountable. Your fiancé will also be held accountable. They will both face the consequences of their actions." "Good," I said. "That's what I want. I want both of them to pay. I want both of them to face the consequences of their actions." I also contacted the police. I gave them the evidence. I told them everything I knew about Miranda's crimes. I told them about the identity theft, the fraud, the stolen money, the secret accounts. I sat in a sterile interview room with Detective Alvarez and walked her through every piece of evidence. She was a woman about my age, and I saw her jaw tighten as she realized the scope of what my own sister had done. "We'll handle this," she said. "I promise you." She was arrested a few weeks later. They came for her at her apartment, the one she'd bought with my stolen money. She was charged with multiple felonies. She was facing serious time. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. Marcus was also arrested. He was charged with fraud and conspiracy. He was facing serious time. He was facing the destruction of his reputation. He was facing the destruction of his life. He was taken from his office, in front of his colleagues, in handcuffs. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I heard he cried. When Marcus found out, he was devastated. He had been completely taken in by her. He had trusted her, loved her, defended her. And she had been destroying his fiancé the whole time. He called me from jail, his voice cracked and desperate. "Gabrielle, please. It wasn't supposed to be like this. She manipulated me. She used me, he said, his voice breaking. She used me for my money, my connections, my access. She never loved me. She never cared about me at all. She just wanted to destroy you. She just wanted to take everything you had. I know, I said, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of sympathy for him. She used you, just like she used all the others. I'm so sorry, Gabrielle. I'm so sorry for everything. I should have listened to you. I should have believed you. I should have protected you. It's too late for that, I said. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it. The trial was brutal. Miranda sat in the courtroom, her face pale, her hands shaking. She looked small and defeated. But I knew her. I knew the performance. She tried to defend herself. She tried to spin the story. She claimed she was a victim too. She claimed Marcus had manipulated her. She claimed she had been coerced. She claimed she had been in love. She cried on the stand, but the tears were for herself, not for what she'd done. But the evidence was overwhelming. The phone messages, the emails, the photos, the videos, the financial records, the property records. It was all there. Everything she had done. Everything she had planned. Everything she had tried to hide. The prosecutor laid it out piece by piece. And I watched the jury's faces change from skepticism to horror to disgust. The jury found her guilty on all counts. Fraud, identity theft, forgery, embezzlement. She was facing a long prison sentence. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When the verdict was read, she looked at me with hatred in her eyes. You'll regret this, she said. You'll regret destroying my life. You'll regret everything. I'll get out. I'll come after you. I'll make you pay. I looked back at her, my face calm, my voice steady. I'm not destroying your life. You destroyed your own life. You made choices. You made mistakes, and now you have to live with them. She was led away in handcuffs. I watched her go, and I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, just relief. It was finally over. She could never hurt me again. Marcus was also convicted. He was sentenced to community service and forced to pay restitution. He also had to forfeit his share of our assets. He had to start over from nothing. His reputation was destroyed. His career was ruined. His life was over. I saw him once, months later, on the street. He looked gaunt, hollow. He started to approach me, but I turned and walked away. I had nothing left to say to him. After the trial, I started the long process of rebuilding my life. My money was recovered. My name was cleared. My reputation was restored. I went back to work, and I was welcomed with open arms. My clients had believed in me. My friends had supported me. My family had stood by me, my parents. After the initial shock had cut Miranda out completely. They were heartbroken, but they rallied around me. But I was changed. The experience had changed me. I was more cautious, more guarded, more protective of my boundaries. I didn't trust as easily as I used to. I didn't give my heart away as freely. I second-guessed every kind gesture, every friendly smile, looking for the hidden knife. It was exhausting, but it was survival. I started going to therapy. I needed to process everything. I needed to work through the trauma. I needed to learn how to trust again. My therapist was a kind woman named Dr. Reynolds. She helped me understand that Miranda's betrayal was not a reflection of my worth, but of her own brokenness. She told me I wasn't stupid for trusting my own sister. I was human. Gabrielle, my therapist said one day, you've been through a terrible ordeal. You've been betrayed by someone you trusted. You've been accused of something you didn't do. You've been through a trauma that would break most people. But you're still standing. You're still fighting. And that takes incredible strength. Thank you, I said. I don't feel strong. I feel broken. I feel like I'll never be whole again. You will be whole again, she said. It will take time. It will take patience. But you will heal. You will find your way back to yourself. I also started spending more time with my family. My parents were devastated by Miranda's betrayal. They had been completely taken in by her. They had trusted her, loved her, defended her, and she had been destroying their other daughter the whole time. We went to family therapy, the three of us. We cried. We asked impossible questions. We slowly, painfully began to knit together the wounds Miranda had torn open. We started going to family therapy. We started talking about our feelings. We started healing together. It was a long process. There were many dark days. There were many moments when I wanted to give up. But I didn't. I couldn't. I had come too far. I had fought too hard. I had survived too much. I realized that the best revenge was not in destroying them. The best revenge was in thriving, in building a better life, in becoming the best version of myself, in showing them that they could not destroy me, in showing them that I was stronger than they ever imagined. I also started to speak out. I told my story to anyone who would listen. I wrote articles. I gave interviews. I shared my experience with others. I wanted to help other women who had been through similar situations. I wanted to show them that they could survive. They could thrive. They could rebuild. I created a support group for women who had been betrayed by family members. It started small, just a few women in a church basement. But it grew and grew and grew. Soon, there were dozens of us, then hundreds, then thousands. We shared our stories. We supported each other. We helped each other heal. I remember one woman, Angela, whose brother had stolen her inheritance and framed her for tax fraud. When she told her story, I saw my own pain mirrored in her eyes, and when she smiled for the first time in 2 years, I knew my suffering had a purpose. I also started to focus on my career. I was promoted to senior event planner at my firm. I was recognized for my leadership, my integrity, my vision. I was making a difference. I was building something meaningful. I planned weddings, galas, corporate retreats, events filled with joy and connection, and each one was a reminder that love, real love, still existed. I could help create it even if my own had been shattered. And I was happy, truly happy. For the first time in a long time, I also met someone new, a kind, gentle man named Thomas. He was everything Marcus was not. He was honest, he was loyal, he was loving. He made me feel safe, he made me feel valued. He made me feel loved. We met at a coffee shop when he accidentally spilled his latte on my notes. He was mortified, apologetic, and his smile was so genuine, I couldn't help but smile back. We started dating slowly. I was scared. I was nervous. I was afraid of being hurt again. But Thomas was patient. He didn't push. He didn't pressure. He understood my scars and loved me despite them, maybe even because of them. We started dating slowly. I was scared. I was nervous. I was afraid of being hurt again. But Thomas was patient. He didn't push. He didn't pressure. He just showed up and proved himself. He'd bring me coffee on hard days. He'd listen when I needed to talk. He held my hand when I cried during my sister's sentencing anniversary. He never once made me feel broken. And eventually I trusted him. I let my guard down. I opened my heart again. We got married 2 years later. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends. I wore a simple white dress and I walked down the aisle with my head held high. My father walked me down, tears in his eyes. My mother smiled from the front row. When I saw Thomas waiting for me at the altar, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. And I was. I had found my happiness again. I had rebuilt my life. I had found peace. It's been 5 years since everything happened. 5 years since I discovered the betrayal. 5 years since I destroyed the people who had hurt me. 5 years since I started to rebuild my life. I am happy. I am at peace. I have everything I ever wanted. A loving husband. Beautiful children. We have a daughter, Lily, who is 3, and a son on the way. A successful career. A life filled with joy. Miranda is still in prison. She is serving a long sentence. She has been abandoned by everyone she loved. Her family has disowned her. Her friends have deserted her. She is alone, forgotten, lost. She writes me letters sometimes, filled with the same venom and blame. I don't read them anymore. I throw them in the fire and watch the ashes rise. Marcus is still struggling. He lost everything, his reputation, his career, his family, his life. He is a shell of the man he used to be. He lives alone in a small apartment. He works a dead-end job. He has no friends, no family, no one who cares about him. I almost pity him, but I won't waste the energy. I don't think about them much. They are not worth my time. They are not worth my energy. They are not worth my thoughts. I have forgiven them, in my own way. Not because they deserve it, not because I have forgotten what they did, but because I can't carry that anger around forever. It was too heavy. It was destroying me. I had to let it go. Forgiveness is not an embrace. It's releasing your grip on a rope that's burning your hands. I let go, I am free. I have learned a valuable lesson. Trust is fragile. Once it is broken, it is almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who betray you the deepest. But that doesn't mean you should stop trusting. It doesn't mean you should stop loving. It just means you should be careful. You should protect yourself. You should always be vigilant. You should always trust your instincts. Loved this story? Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a video. I upload brand new stories every single day. Gripping, emotional, and packed with twists that'll keep you guessing until the very end. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you all the feels. Comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's experiences. Got a story idea? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become the next video on this channel. Subscribe now and join our growing family of story lovers. New videos drop daily at 7 a.m. EST. Perfect to watch with your morning coffee. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. You always have been, and you always will be.